There are nights when the mind refuses to rest, when thoughts swirl like a stormy sea, tossing you from one regret to another. Have you ever felt that weight? The heaviness of dreams unfulfilled, of mistakes replaying in endless loops? Perhaps you've stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, wondering, why did I fail? Why am I not enough? Imagine a small room, dimly lit by a flickering lamp, the rain tapping a restless rhythm against the window. A young soul sits in silence, clutching a notebook filled with crossed-out ideas, failed attempts, and dashed hopes. Outside, the world moves on, but inside, time seems frozen. What if failure wasn't the end but a doorway? What if the very thing that shattered you today could become the foundation of your greatest triumph tomorrow? Could you see it, not with your eyes, but with your heart? Tonight, you are invited to walk alongside a traveler who learns this truth the hard way. A story that may reflect the hidden paths in your own journey. Our traveler's name was Arin. He lived in a modest town where mornings smelled of wet earth and the chatter of distant markets. Every day he woke before dawn, shoulders heavy with invisible burdens. His job, though steady, left him restless. Each failure felt personal, a mark on his spirit. Nights were the hardest. Arin would pace the creaking floorboards of his small room, the cold moonlight tracing patterns on the walls. His thoughts refused to be still. Memories of projects abandoned, friendships strained, opportunities missed. Even small mistakes haunted him, whispering, "You'll never make it. You're not meant for more." Yet there was a spark buried deep within him, a quiet yearning that refused to die. He longed for clarity, for a path that made sense of the chaos inside. Sometimes, in fleeting moments, he imagined a life where failure was not a sentence but a teacher. One evening, as rain poured in silvery threads outside, Arin overheard a rumor. A wise man lived atop the distant cliffs, someone who had guided many from despair to triumph. The thought lingered. Perhaps he could teach me what I cannot learn alone. The next morning, Arin set out. The path was uncertain, winding through dense forests, along roaring rivers and over rocky hills. Each step tested him. His legs ached, the rain soaked through his coat, and the wind whispered doubts in his ears. What if you fail even before reaching him? But Arin pressed on. The landscape shifted with his journey. Golden fields bathed in sunlight, misty valleys shrouded in silence, and the distant mountains, solemn and enduring, became metaphors for the challenges he faced within himself. He realized that each obstacle on the path mirrored his inner struggles. Along the way, villagers he met shared brief, wise sayings. A river does not resist the rocks. It finds a way. Even the tallest tree starts as a seed in darkness. These words were small, flickering lights guiding him forward. But he still wondered if the wisdom atop the cliffs could illuminate the storm inside his mind. Finally, after days of travel, Arin stood before the cave where the wise man resided. The wind howled through the cliffs, carrying with it both fear and hope. The decision weighed heavily on him. Step inside and face the unknown, or turn back to the familiar comfort of despair. Inside, the cave was dim, the scent of old stone and candle smoke filling the air. The wise man sat cross-legged on a carved wooden platform, eyes closed, as if seeing beyond the present moment. Arin's heart raced. "Sit," the wise man said without opening his eyes. "You have come seeking answers." Arin hesitated. I failed at so many things. I don't know how to move forward. How do I turn failure into success?" The wise man finally opened his eyes. They were calm, like still water after a storm. "You seek a formula, but life does not work in formulas. Come with me." They stepped outside into a clearing where a small, turbulent stream ran through jagged stones. "Pick up that stone," the wise man instructed. Arin obeyed, holding the rock. "Now throw it into the water," the wise man said. Arin did, and the stone sank. It did not resist the current, the wise man observed. The water changed its path, not the stone. But notice how the water flows differently now. He gestured to the ripples spreading outward. Failure is like this stone. When it falls, it may disturb the surface, create ripples of doubt and fear. But the current, the lessons, the experiences, shapes the flow that follows. You must learn to move with the water, not fight it. Arin watched, puzzled yet captivated. The wise man continued, "I will give you one more task. Build a small dam of stones across this stream. But here's the catch. Each time a stone falls or collapses, you must start again. Only when you understand the rhythm of the water, not your desire to control it, will you succeed. Arin nodded. His hands trembled. Could he endure repeated failure? Not just once, but until the lesson embedded itself into his being? Hours passed, then a full day. Each attempt to build the dam ended in collapse. Frustration rose like a wildfire inside him. "I can't do it," Arin shouted, throwing his hands into the air. "Nothing works. I'm a failure." The wise man remained silent, merely observing like a mountain unmoved by passing storms. Finally, drenched and exhausted, Arin slumped beside the stream. Why can't I get it right?" he whispered. The wise man approached. "Because you are trying to conquer the water, not understand it. You are trying to erase failure rather than learn from it. Every stone you place teaches you balance, patience, timing. Every collapse is a lesson in persistence." Arin looked at the stream, then at the stones. Slowly, a realization dawned. Each failure had revealed something subtle. How the current shifted, which stones fit together, where his hands were too hasty, where his mind imposed fear. "I see it now," Arin murmured. "Failure isn't the enemy. It's a guide," the wise man nodded. "Yes, success does not come from avoiding failure. It comes from embracing it, understanding it, and moving forward despite it. The current of life is not something you fight. It is something you flow with, shaping your path from each experience." A quiet peace settled over Arin. He realized that the fear that had haunted him, the shame of his past mistakes, all dissolved when he saw failure, not as an end, but as a beginning. By evening, the dam finally stood, not perfect but resilient. The water flowed around it gracefully, a harmonious dance of effort and acceptance. Arin sat back watching the ripples, feeling a lightness he had never known. The rain had stopped. The clouds parted, revealing a sky painted in gold and crimson hues. Birds chirped in the distance. The wind carried a fresh scent of wet earth, and the world seemed to breathe with him. Arin knew he was no longer the same person who had entered the cave, fearful and doubtful. His hands bore cuts, his clothes were wet and torn, but his heart carried a calm certainty. He understood that success was not a straight path. It was a river, winding and unpredictable, shaped by each stone of failure he had faced and learned from. On the journey home, the landscape no longer felt intimidating. Each tree, each hill, each flowing stream became a reminder that life's challenges were teachers, not punishers. Arin walked with a quiet confidence, a rhythm in his step that mirrored the current he had learned to honor. What about you? How many stones have you let weigh you down? Moments of failure, mistakes, regrets. What if, instead of resisting, you learned to read the current, to feel the rhythm of life's challenges? Failure is not a verdict. It is a lesson waiting to be understood. Each mistake you make, each stumble you endure, shapes the path ahead. Just like Arin, you may feel weary, frustrated, or hopeless. But if you pause, observe, and learn, the same obstacles that once broke you can become the foundation of your greatest achievements. Ask yourself, am I resisting life, or am I learning from it? Am I afraid of failure, or am I letting it guide me forward? Your journey, like the river, is unique. The stones of failure will always be there. But how you move with the current, Thank you for walking this path with Arin tonight. Remember, every failure you face carries the seeds of success. You have the power to shape your current, to turn obstacles into stepping stones, to flow with life rather than fight it. If this story resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who may need a gentle reminder that failure is not the end, but a beginning. Like, comment, and subscribe to continue exploring life's lessons through stories that inspire, calm, and guide. May your journey be filled with courage, patience, and clarity. Flow with your failures, embrace your lessons, and trust that success lies not in avoiding mistakes, but in learning to move gracefully with them. Until next time, stay resilient, stay curious, and let your life become the river you were always meant to navigate.